everybody, we're back, and we're back to my nostalgia shop. That's right, this is the change in the channel. It's about looking at nostalgic devices. When we see these RCA connectors, we know we're dealing with something very nostalgic, very old. It's a Roku. It's the first one. It's like a Roku 1. I don't think it has a number on here. But yeah, there you go. It's a Roku. It's a Roku 1. And how do we know? Because it says so. And then we have the Roku 2. This is a update to the Roku 1. This is kind of neat. This is actually still functional. It has a slot for a micro SD, USB, or sorry, not USB, HDMI, a solid Ethernet connection if that's what you need, reset button, and power. This would be a decent, even today you can probably run the Roku OS, whatever they call it. This one's outdated completely. This one would still work fairly well. Then we come to the Apple TV. I have older versions of this. I have this version of this. And these are fingerprint magnets, but yes, this one has the USB, the new version. What does it see? And it's the thicker one. And I got a remote for it. So these are devices you can use. Hook up to your big, nice LCD or OLED or whatever it is, whatever version of TV you're using these days. This one you can't really use anymore. It's just too outdated. Won't cut it. This one is still usable. This is, contemporary, really. It has very contemporary interface and connectivity. If you want to deal with the Roku or Apple TV ecosystem. But I propose a different idea. Now, when these become old or outdated, they become, well, this becomes a nice hockey puck if you like hockey. Put that on the ice and take a few shots into the goal. Same with this one or this one. Hockey puck, hockey puck, hockey puck. Here is the difference. These are Android devices. So this one here, the i68, this Lobmall, this MXQ Pro 4K, and this funky one 4K with the Android little symbol on it. And then we get into the older ones, which is a AnCloud with basically highlighting the things you can do with it, gaming. And, this is getting older. So these kind of devices were Android 5 and 6. These are getting down to Android 4. And my latest one, is it an Android box? Or is it a router? Honestly, this thing looks like a router. When I saw it, I thought, is that a router? And I thought, nope, I see Android written on there. It's an Android box. It has a sleep button. It has interesting I/O on this one. It's got this big antenna, so you're going to have good Wi-Fi connectivity compared to these that don't have antennas. You've got, you got your Ethernet, USB. You got this optical sort of audio thing. You've got a small version of the HDMI. You've got a direct connection into the processor for flashing. You've got an audio video out for the old school TVs. You've got a power input, and you've got yourself another USB and a what do you call it? A micro SD. Then on the bottom, you've got yourself a recovery button, and this is what they're calling the device. So this is going to be the focus of our latest version. It's one of the older versions running Android 4, and we're going to look at how this old, taking a journey back to 2015 to an operating system going all the way back to 2013, beats out the Apple TV, the Roku 2 and 3, 4 and 5, any Roku, any Apple TV, or any Fire Stick, which I neglected to grab, but I do have a couple of Fire Sticks. Or what is it, Chrome? There's a Chrome thing too. Anyway, they're all nothing compared to these, and I'll tell you why. Because these run an Android OS. If it runs an Android OS, then that means you can install Android apps. That means these are virtually PCs running, or computers running a Android OS. So that's going to be our discussion, and I'll show you this thing in action when I set it up. And we'll talk about what we can do with one of these old Android systems. So let's go way back to 2013 for the OS, 2015 when this thing was being sold, and let's get into it. I'll be back in a second. Okay guys, we're back with another segment here. So this is where we actually hook up the Android box to a keyboard, a mouse, through that nice little dongle in the back, and we dive into what can this thing do. So this is the interface, and you know, that's pretty cool looking, doesn't it? Yeah, this is a Android 4 device. Oh, and of course we have to see a big shot of me. I apologize in advance for that, but here we go. This is the model number, Android version, which is 2013, and the build and the kernel. And we can see that it's from 2015. So they're taking late 2013, I think December 2013 OS technology, matching it up with 2015 hardware, and we get this. So what do we end up with? Well, we end up with basically something you can turn into a desktop operating system. Now, this is a FB reader, which is basically a like PDF or comic book reader. I'm not going to open it because there's no comic books or anything on here, but it basically is a comic book reader for those who might be interested in that sort of thing, or PDF reader, any kind of manual or book or magazine, e-magazine, e-book you want to read is available through this. Suddenly you've got an e-book reader in a very practical form. Now, I chose to use this particular monitor, which is an HP W2207H, because it has an HDMI connection and because it's sort of era appropriate. Now, this would be probably in the Windows 7 era, so it's very practical for what we're connecting it to. This uses a very tiny connector on the back here, HDMI. to a regular port, regular HDMI port on this monitor. So this would work perfectly fine as a little desktop, low power device. So we have, with this one application that I've installed, we now have capabilities to do our reading of various things like documents or whatever you might want to use it for. Now this thing will play video fairly well, actually, because that's what it's more or less designed for. But I want this to be more of a desktop system. So we have a file manager, and of course we're getting big reflection of me. So there you go. See if we can get to a point where we can actually see something here of use. So here we go. So here's some info about this. I'll try and not have me reflected so badly here. Let's see, is there a way to, hang on a second, I'm just gonna see if I can tilt this down a bit. Nope, still the way it is. Okay, so let's just make this always. And of course we're getting me again. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, so this is the device. This is the remote. I have the remote, of course, for this device, since I got it from the thrift store. But I don't really use the remote because you'll have a much better experience with something like a USB keyboard and mouse. Now here's what actually comes with the system. So you get yourself a remote, the device, the power, this old school connector for old TVs, which you'd run through that AV connector, but you don't need it. This is what you really need because it has a small connector to a regular size HDMI connector. This is a very important piece of equipment which I got with this device. So I got the whole kit and caboodle here, so that was nice. And let's get you the last picture here. And this shows you all the sort of I/O and different things. So if you press on this, you'll put it into a sleep mode. You've got your USB, you've got your small SD card, and here's your different I/O here. So, fairly full-featured for a little device like this. And of course, if you want to hook it up to your Wi-Fi, you've got expanded antenna for your Wi-Fi, which was kind of a problem for some of these old boxes. So there you go. Now, one of the things you can do here, let's go into the information about this box, and we can look at some of the data here from the box that I've kind of got. So this is what we're calling it, TT TV box, Android player, and that's the code they happen to use, and that's of course the date when I did it. And it's the box releases from 2015. We're slipping back to the old Android 4.4.2 Kitkat version from 2013. That means you can side load any kind of app that runs on that particular OS. It's running an Amlogic S805, quad-core ARM Cortex A5 1.5 gigahertz 32-bit processor. So quad-core, not bad. And then it's using a quad-core Mali 450 graphics engine or graphics GPU running at 600 megahertz. It has on board 1 gigabyte of DDR3, and then storage is about 8 gigabytes of NAND flash drive, memory. And of course, if you want to ever mess around with this extensively, you can actually recover it using certain technologies to create an image of the original OS and stuff, and kind of make sure your system bulletproof. So I was able to install these particular apps, which I've shown you a little bit about. These are the apps and the app versions that you'd want to use for a device like this. Jada is a text editor, really useful. Python is quite impressive. It's a Python 3 environment. Terminal IDE gives you pretty much a Linux-like environment where you can run Vim or Nano or any of the standard sort of developer environments and editors that you might be familiar with or used to. It gives you Java and C support. This gives you Python. And this, of course, is the alternative to Microsoft Office, which we'll take a look at in a minute. So all in all, I would say that this is a great system for a terminal, for working with Python, working with Java, working with C, working with Office docs, text editor, reading ebooks, reading emags. Pretty amazing for technology that we would call nostalgia. So let's get out of here. There you go. We're back at her here. Let's take a look at how this looks like when opening a text, a Microsoft doc document. So this is a Word document. So let's open that up. Let's always open that up. And let's see how it looks. There you go. So with this interface, we can basically use this to edit Word documents, and it gives you quite a few options here. Let's see what this is like here. Oh no, yeah, I see. Okay. Yeah, so you can do all kinds of stuff with this thing. For reading, we can actually make it dark mode. There you go. So if you don't want to be blinded, you can have a dark mode. And yeah, it works like Microsoft Word. Here's the compatibility, the .doc format, the .docx format, which is the newer versions of Office text files. So this thing is fairly compatible with Microsoft Office. Quite impressive. So we'll get rid of that, and I love the reflectivity of this screen. Anyway, so yeah, there you go, guys. That's a sort of a fundamental viewpoint from here. Now, so we took a look at the text editor. We looked at the Microsoft Office alternative. Let's take a look at that terminal. So when we boot up the terminal, what do we get? We get this, which is basically like a regular Linux terminal. So what you would do with this is you go, say for example, Nano, which is a text editor. And there you go. You got yourself a Nano buffer, and you're good to go. And you can do the same thing with Zim. And then you can exit out. And you can basically treat this thing a lot like what you would do with almost like a Linux system running like a terminal. So it's a terminal IDE, or development environment. So let's get rid of this too, I guess. Of course, it uses the same sort of, like if you've ever used an old, and here we go with the nostalgia. This is probably reminding you of these old Android phones you might have had back in 2013 to 2015, maybe 10 years ago, maybe a little more than that, 12 years ago, where you were probably using these exact kind of apps on your system. So here's one, it's kind of nice. So this is a Python 3 system, and you can do things like the standard sort of things you would expect from a Python interpreter, but that's really not enough. What you want to be able to do is run programs, and edit them and create scripts. So the nice thing about this is it gives you a nice editor to work with to develop your scripts. And then once you've written a program, you just run it right from this little console here, and away you go. So it's like a full-fledged sort of development environment. You've got C programming, you've got Java, you've got this Python 3 tool, and honestly, I'm going to tell you something else that you won't probably realize until you start using this. There's a metric crap ton of apps available for Android 4.4, which is this one. If we look at the actual info again here, yeah, 4.4.2. There are a ton of old apps that are very capable and will run way better than any kind of Linux apps you can find. It actually is running a Linux kernel of 3.1 or 3.10.33 from 2015. And if you can wrap your head around using an Android device or Android OS on a device like this, almost like it's a computer, you will be impressed with how much actual capability you can get out of this thing. So that's what it's like going back to 2013, the OS, 2015, the technology. That's going to be my, I guess, inaugural episode for Cade's Nostalgia Shop. That's my new branding. So what can you expect from Cade's Nostalgia Shop? Well, we're gonna have book flip throughs, because I have quite a few books that I picked up through my thrift store and life in general. We're gonna obviously have old technologies like this box, like this old monitor, like these peripherals, and we're going to go back. We're going to travel back in time. Sometimes we'll travel back 10 years. Sometimes we'll travel back 15 years. Sometimes we might even travel back to 1980, like I did with that flip through my last video there, where I was focusing in on the technology of the time, which was our universe and our understanding of our universe back in 1980. So that's the direction of the channel now. You got to mix it up every so often. And so that's where we're going. So thank you for tuning in. I hope you're enjoying that background wallpaper. It's very spacey. And I I will see you guys in the next one. Thank you for tuning in, and have a great early Monday morning. Bye.